Do you hear anything?
I'd like to call the Budget and Finance Committee to order. May I have approval on the minutes from our previous meeting? All in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, we have in our old business, we'll take time if there is anything. I apologize. And new on our agenda today is an ordinance amending and supplementing Title IX General Provisions, Chapter 104 Income Tax Ordinance in order to reflect changes improperly. Is it really improperly mandated by the Ohio House Bill 49, HB 49?
Yeah, improperly mandated is what that says.
Improperly mandated. That just sounds rather redundant, doesn't it? Okay, an oxymoron here. By the Ohio House Bill 49, reserving the right to continue litigating an ongoing challenge to HB 49, recognizing that several provisions may be invalidated, okay, here we go, or stayed as a result of that challenge and declaring an emergency.
I'm just going to speak really briefly. I guess the crux of this legislation is to allow us to make the state change. The state wants all of the businesses to file their net profits with the state. For the city of Akron, that could mean $18 million that the state would collect and remit to us on some schedule, and they would charge us to collect our money.
Oh my. It was improperly mandated. Wow, thank you very much for just putting that in layman's terms so that it's really easy to understand.
I mean, as you are aware, there are many cities that are fighting this legislation,
right.
But again, we need to implement this in case we are not successful.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or concerns from the committee or comments?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Amobian.
Is this what we've been fighting for a long time now? They're trying to
This
take
is
out
just another piece.
another piece of the income tax?
Yes, the state ultimately wants to collect all of the income tax. And as we all know around here, that is this city's lifeblood.
Right. And when you said profit, well, how would that relate to
It's the business net profit. They typically pay income tax on their net profit.
Okay. Okay. And they want to take that from the city?
They want to collect that.
And then give it back to us?
They will remit it. We believe they will remit it. But again, it won't. The city collects money monthly, at least quarterly. We're not sure of the schedule. The state will remit it back to us. We're not sure if they're going to remit the correct amount. But again, they're going to charge us for that purpose.
Okay. And how would we know exactly, if they do this, that they're giving us our correct amount?
The amount that they are collecting is not something that we would be permitted to audit or look into in any way.
So you wouldn't even know?
It is a state-administered collection and administration. So once they would be doing this, they would be locked in for a 5-year period of time also, according to this legislation. Not our legislation, but the House Bill 49 legislation.
For 5 years?
Yes, so again, we would not even know if they're giving us the correct amount.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else on the committee that has a question or a comment? Okay. Yes, Councilman Hoke.
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. House Bill 49, do they have to do the same thing in the Senate in order to enact this, or I mean,
No, I believe this has already been enacted.
The Senate has already passed it. Oh, okay.
That's my understanding. This.
It is the law that they've passed. It is the law that has been passed, and both the House and Senate have passed all of the final versions, and this is what we are left with.
And this is the state's, it's in the state's budget bill.
Okay. And they're doing this statewide across the board? You know, are all the cities in on the same, like, suit? Or-
There are multiple, I guess, cities in the suits. I'm not aware if all of the cities are in, but again, there are probably 300-400 cities that are fighting it, you know, at different levels.
Oh, okay. All right. But not as all together, but
There are probably a
individual.
couple of different parties, law firms that are doing it, so no, not all together, but again, we're all against it.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's on the same side.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman Fusco.
The incorporated areas are the ones that are going to be most affected by this. And if I understood it correctly, in essence, this is just on the profit portion?
It's on the net,
It's not
currently, it's on the net
currently.
profit.
That's, I guess that's the next question, is eventually we're going to see them possibly then go and try to collect all income tax dollars?
Again, I think a few years back, that was one of the things that they wanted to do. They were not successful in doing that, but again, this is just another try and another attack on home rule.
Exactly right. So just, I don't know, I guess just whenever, you know, you thought it couldn't get any more absurd, it does. And, you know, they've taken away our home rule. They've taken away, you know, half of our local government funds. And when will it end? I mean, it's constant in terms of the state going after the incorporated areas, going, in essence, going after cities, as well as public school systems, libraries, et cetera. This is over the top in terms of how far they've gone. How much time do we have on this? Do we need to do this today? Can we look at it?
You can
take
look
our
at
time?
it. We were going to ask that you take time on it.
Good. Thank you.
Councilman Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Councilman Hoke's question, we're representing ourselves right now. Is our in-house law department?
I'll defer to the law department. No, we are not representing ourselves. I think we are with a group of cities.
There's a group of municipalities that are being represented by a law firm in Columbus that
Okay, so-
we're acting as outside counsel.
That was going to be my question, so that the cost is deferred. Is this through our membership with the Ohio Municipal League, or is this outside of that?
I'm not sure about
And do we know where the Ohio Municipal League stands, so that we're not being redundant?
No, I think they stand with us.
No, I understand that. But if they're leading a charge for a lawsuit, so that we're not, I mean, this action that we're taking, is it costing us any money to be a part of this lawsuit, where we've paid fees to be a part of Ohio Municipal League? If they're leading the charge with a lawsuit, it may already be a part of our fees, and we don't have to go through this extra expense.
I will get you an answer. I don't have one today.
Okay, thank you. That would, and then, you know, the other question I have is, if they're going to collect if they're trying to collect what we profit from, are they doing this at the end of the year? Are they doing it quarterly?
They're doing it, and I guess I'll defer to you.
The Income Tax Division, we receive money every day for net profits monies. So it's not an end-of-the-year thing. It's whenever tax returns are filed by a business that has net profits. So we collect those monies every day. Under the state opt-in provisions for this, their remittance is not going to be every day like what we see deposited in our bank accounts. It will be upon some other schedule.
Okay, so this is based on the net profits of businesses within the city of Akron, not on the city of Akron's.
Right, it's businesses in the city of Akron.
I guess the thing that's challenging there is, from a business standpoint, you know, you can make yourself profitable or not profitable based on the way you do your books. So I'm even confused on how they could even do that.
They're just going to have them remit their return to the state instead of to the city. That's all, because the business does have to fill out a return.
Right.
The return will go to the state instead of the city. That's the difference. And the state will then hold the money, may remit it at some schedule, and will charge us a fee to do that. I mean, we are very capable of collecting net profits in the city of Akron. We've
Right.
been doing it for years. We're very good at it.
But and I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, like, at the end of the year, the business may choose to write off certain things, and so it changes their...
No, I understand what you're saying.
So I don't even know how they could do that. Now, this is the other thing. If they're going to take this and hold it, are they going to, because I guess presently this is the law.
Correct.
So are they going to return, like, any interest or anything that's accrued?
No.
No interest would be given to us, the payments would be delayed, and there's a litany of requirements that the Income Tax Division, the City of Akron, has to comply with. If we don't, 50% of the monies that they collect can be withheld.
Well, I just want to join my colleague, Mr. Fusco, in saying this is, I mean, if folks want to know why it's important to fight against gerrymandering of districts, and so we have the proper representation down there, because this is the fleecing of cities.
I mean, it's another attack on home rule. Again, this is our lifeblood, and they are attacking us where it hurts.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Amobian?
Why are they doing it for 5 years instead of indefinitely? Is this what they have to do when they initiate something new, or they're saying they're going to look at it after 5 years? Or?
Are you referring to, we can review it? I guess I don't know what the 5 years. You're referring to what Art said about 5 years? Okay.
Yes, I'm looking here. It says about 2023 or something.
There are two different things that mention 5 years in the document that you have in front of you. One of them is the net operating loss carry forward. That is something that has already been made law from House Bill 5, the previous bill where the state had done things to the city, and we're locked into that. However, the other piece referencing 5 years in this document, once the business were to opt in with the state, they have to stay, they're required to stay with the state for a 5-year period of time.
So they have an option? The businesses have an option of opting in or opting out?
Yes, they do.
And who's going to educate them about this? To opt in is to their advantage, or?
I don't think it's to their advantage. They get no service from our office because we wouldn't have any documentation to provide. So as far as a benefit or a perceived benefit, that's all hearsay.
I guess the question I have then, who educates them about opting in or opting out?
Well, primarily, this is a bill that has been vetted quite heavily through the state legislature, and all of the tax preparation firms that do net profit returns, they're privy to it. All of their professional organizations know about it. The Ohio Society of CPAs, they are identifying this as a possibility, and it's in all the professional publications and on the website, the State of Ohio Department of Taxation website.
So would we be in violation of the law if we talked with the businesses that we collect from?
I think the law is just specific as to how they file. That's all. It does not preclude us from talking to businesses.
Okay. I'm just wondering if, because I know that when people create these kind of ways of doing business, people don't really sometimes understand what does it mean for me to opt in or opt out. If it's not to their advantage, I mean, it's not going to cost them any more to do either. So why would they even opt in?
Councilman Fusco?
It seems as though this is meant for like larger entities that have multiple locations. Is that part of this?
That was part of the rhetoric, that it would make it easier for those big companies that have to file in multiple cities. They could go to one location and file.
Okay.
But quite possibly, those corporations are making more money, so it doesn't make that much difference, I would imagine. Yes, Art?
The interesting thing is, as Diane had pointed out, to have the multiple filings made easier for a business, it already exists.
Okay, so,
The Ohio Business Gateway is there to provide just that type of filing at no cost. And this is another piece that was added that says, not only will you be able to file your returns in that manner, but we'll take care of everything. You don't have to deal with any municipality. You only deal with us, the State of Ohio Department of Taxation.
and you say, Art, that's already being done anyhow, correct? Through the city of Akron.
The Ohio Business Gateway is utilized by all cities in Ohio, yes.
Okay, so it would seem to me that we, representing the city, are going to be the hardest hit, okay?
The
And
cities will be hard hit.
hardest hit. But an individual business may not even understand that
Correct.
whatsoever. So to get the message out, I think it's up to us, because it's going to be us that it's going to affect. And I think you had mentioned time. I don't have a problem with taking time, but why are we taking time when I hear what you're saying?
So the week, I'm thinking time just so we could educate ourselves on this, because this is a pretty big document here. I'd like to meet and learn a little bit more about how this is going to affect us in terms of accounting, so on and so forth, and what this whole thing means. I think we're scratching the surface on it. I think there could be more parts. If there's not a rush on it, I think it would make sense to just do that in terms of taking time on this.
Okay. All right. I knew I heard somebody say time, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, also I can fill you in a little bit on that. In terms of time right now, currently there is a stay that's in place. So this legislation was enacted, okay, it was passed, and it would have taken effect, but for the fact that all of the municipalities banded together and filed multiple suits around the state. So now the actual law itself has been stayed. Right now we're waiting on the outcome of a hearing. It's a preliminary injunction hearing. We're expecting to know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. If we are not successful and the stay goes away, we may be in immediate non-compliance if we don't pass it. But for the time being, we don't know what the outcome of that injunction hearing is going to be. So it's perfectly appropriate to take time to consider it. There's no rush. As soon as the injunction hearing takes place, and if we potentially lose, that's when we would have to take immediate action.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Any other? Yes, Councilman Neal.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, I just want to emphasize again, if we can find out from the standpoint of saving us money, if we would already be represented by the Ohio Municipal League, I would be shocked if they're not acting on this on behalf of all their membership across the city, across the state. If we can find out, just so that we're not spending resources that we don't have to spend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm not sure if I should thank you for bringing that forward or not. But is there a motion for time? Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, we will take time on this piece.
Thank you.
Okay, and if there is nothing else to come before us in the Budget Committee, we will adjourn.